Hello? This is a collect call from
Life of a Lifer.
To accept this call, press 5 now.
Hello, friends and family. Let's talk about the incredible and inspiring man, JC. I heard his story and I really got compelled to reach out and see what he's all about. And I found out that this is a great guy. He's been through so many things in his past, and he has a story to tell, and he's telling it. So today on Life of a Lifer, we got JC, who spent a lot of time in prison, and after everything that he's been through, he's created this platform called Wrong to Strong Fitness, and he's really inspiring some people and making some changes out there. So, JC, are you with me, man?
Oh, man, thank you. Yeah, I'm right here, man. You know, trying to spread that word.
So tell me a little bit about your story. Let people know what it is, who you are, and where you come from.
Well, I grew up in Chicago, 26th Street. It's one of the oldest Mexican neighborhoods in Chicago. We're very, very gang infested. The gangs have been there since the 30s. They're old. It's a way of life. It's just something norm. Everybody's in a gang. Everybody's rocking something. We took in a culture from the mafia back in the day, and it's just been like a Wild Wild West city, man. And at a very young age, I started gangbanging and taking care of business, and that was just the way to survive in the jungle. Life went on, and I started graduating from a GED to a high school diploma I just kept on going up to a PhD, and next thing you know, I was working for a family in Mexico at the age of 16. And, you know, military training, everything pretty much just how they show in the movies. They take young kids and they turn them into soldiers to profit for them. And I started doing time. I ended up in prison in Mexico. It was pretty bad over there when I went in. I was 17 when I went in to prison in Mexico, and it was bad. A lot of violence, just a lot of drugs, a lot going on. Not like an American prison. And I ended up back in the United States, but I couldn't stay out because I didn't know how to live a normal life without wanting to fight or stab or shoot for every small thing. It had already been enforced in me where I thought that everything was solved with violence. And I just couldn't stay out. I was in and out for 17 years of my life. And I was telling you earlier, next thing I'm 40-something years old, and I'm still sitting in a cell trying to be a gang leader. And I'll never forget what my grandfather told me. He was like, you guys think you guys are tough, but the tough guy is the one that provides for his family and goes to work every day. And this man went to work for 60-something years and never missed a day. So now I understand. I was telling you, we go from kids to actually growing up and being men. And that's when we start to see things a lot different.
Right. I know exactly what you mean, because I came in to the system at an early age. I started going to juvenile, and then I actually ended up in this behavioral modification program in Mexico, believe it or not, at the age of 15. And it was a horrible place, torturous, abuse to kids. They had these places all over different countries because your parents would have to sign over their rights to their kids in order to enter them into these programs, and they just did whatever they wanted to do. It was a horrible place. They ended up getting shut down later on, fortunately. I'm amazed by that. And a lot of kids ended up dying. So I came back, and I was almost 17. Shortly after that, I got kicked out onto the streets, and I just lived that life up until 20. I got arrested and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for an aggravated murder, and I didn't even commit aggravated murder, so I'm wrongfully convicted of that. But yeah, so 14 years later, here I am. I hear what you're saying. It's crazy out there, and that life, especially when you go through a lot of stuff when you're younger, and then you don't grow up, and then you get to the point to where later on you finally start growing up. But by that time, for people in my situation, it's too late. You're done. Life without parole, and there is no second chance.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. I go to the prison here in Arizona once a month for the second chance program that they get all these guys in and they get them ready to come home. And these have been people that have offended over and over again. So they're red flags to pretty much they might come back again. So they try to help them as much as they can to get them ready, job training, all that. So I go in there. I started a class to show them how to become personal trainers. And so I go there once a month, and I help out, speak to the class that's graduating and everything, and I explain to them that everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody. If we didn't have a purpose, we'd probably be dead by now. And the thing is that finding our purpose is what makes us live that life where we actually feel fulfilled, even if we're poor, rich, it doesn't matter. When you find your purpose, you feel, I can't even explain it. I feel new every time I go into that prison and I talk to these guys because I see my old self. I see the old me there wearing that orange jumpsuit, and when I walk out of there, sometimes I leave out of there in tears sometimes because it creates a really big impact in my life.
Yeah, that's great that you take the time out and that you're doing that program, and I think that probably is changing lives. You being able to come from where you come from, gone through what you've gone through, and to have triumphed and be able to share that with the next is incredible.
I think it's a huge responsibility for guys like us, and I have a lot of mentors that are doing life actually in prisons in Illinois, and I have phone calls with them once a month, and they've become some of my biggest mentors. Even though they're in there, they still have this impact that they created me, and then I spread that on to somebody else. So we made it. Mentally, we made it. Remember how we were at that age? I mean, you couldn't tell us what was right, what was wrong, because we knew everything.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a true story right there.
We were the tough guys that knew everything, and we knew everybody, and we just knew how we were going to do things.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me nothing when I was a kid, man. It's cool that you keep in contact with these people, and because I'm sure that creates hope, and they're able to kind of live vicariously through you. Because I know that some of the people that I keep in contact with, share my story with them, and they pass it along to other people out there, and they share what they're doing with me, and that really does create a lot of hope and like something to look forward to. Man, it's great. So that's cool that you do that.
Yeah, I was about to just say that I have a huge responsibility to live a good life in order for these guys to live it with me. You said vicariously, and some of these dudes I grew up with as kids, and it's just very, very important for me to do it for them and for us. Every day when I talk to them, they're always, who would have ever thought, JC, you were the worst one out of all of us.
Right. That just goes to show that you got a purpose, and we all have a purpose. You just got to find it. But you're living it right now, man. You found it, and you're really living it. So that's awesome. Because I hate it when I see these dudes that I got high hopes for them to get out, and then 6 months, a year goes by, and you see them come back. There's nothing more disappointing than that.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times, and my older cats that were in there, they would see me on the bus come back, and they would be like, you're not even getting a care package this time, motherfucker.
Right. Exactly.
And they would be so upset with me.
Yeah, man. It's a hard thing, because you see it happen all the time. You see them come back, and then get out, and then come back. It's devastating.
You know what, though, bro? I've met some of my most solid friends in there. Yeah, some are never coming home, and some did come home and were murdered and stuff like that. But I have never been able to build a friendship like I did in there out here, if that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah, it makes complete sense, because you create these bonds that are forged in the fire, and you don't get that out there. You don't ever spend the time with people that you do in here, because you're around them all day, every day.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man. Sometimes my biggest thing is that I grew up in there, and one of the hardest things for me sometimes is to actually not want to go back, because sometimes I get tired of the bullshit out here, the disrespect, the craziness, just how people are sometimes. And I was so used to the structure, to the respect, to the loyalty in there that It took me a very, very hard time to actually say, okay, yeah, it's okay to feel I want to go back because I grew up in there and I was a kid and I learned to grow up in there, but I have a purpose to do out here and I have to stay on course because that would be the easy cop out for me to go back, you know? And that's been one of the hardest things that I had to deal with. It's one of the biggest demons that I deal with on a daily basis, man.
So, speaking of that, what are some of the things that you do to deal with that? If you're speaking to somebody who may be feeling that same type of way, what are some of the things that you do to deal with that?
I go to AA meetings, I go to drug meetings, I go to church, I do anything that has a positive message, I do it. I don't consider myself to be an alcoholic because I was a drug addict. I was more into drugs and stuff like that. But I like going to the AA meetings to hear the message. I've met some cool people that have been on the streets, so I hear the message. I like to go to the services. Anything that has to do with positive stuff, I just fill my head up with all positive stuff, The first thing I do in the morning when I get up, I listen to motivational stuff. Instead of when I was a kid, the first thing I would listen to would be gangster rap and just start filling my shit up with garbage. I've learned to fill my stuff up with positive stuff right away because in the morning when you wake up, the first thing that you put into your body is how your rest of your day reflects. That's how I feel. So whether it's a message in the Bible, whether it's a motivational video, just something positive, or just sitting there with a cup of coffee and actually feeling how blessed I am to be drinking nice coffee instead of Keefy coffee.
Yeah.
So, small things in life is what people miss sometimes.
Right, absolutely. That's a good thing right there. First thing in the morning, feed your mind with some positivity to get you going. I think that really sets the tone for the day.
It does. It really does, brother. And it's helped me a lot because I noticed a difference in me when I was in a very, very toxic relationship. And the first thing I would do would be fighting in the morning. And then I would get to the gym and I would want to fight somebody there. And it would set my tone up for failure. And I'm learning how to be normal. I guess I call it normal and learning how to live life. I didn't even know how to date a woman. And I thought it was normal to just meet a girl, shack up with her a week later and get her pregnant. And it's not. It's not normal. And it doesn't work like that. You're actually supposed to date and get to know if she's crazy or not. I think those are things that we getting out fresh out of prison, and especially if you've done a big stretch, we're in a hurry to get into. But my message to all those guys getting out, don't be in a hurry. It's going to happen. Actually, if you take your time and actually take care of you first, you'll meet the right one. She'll come along. If you sleep with that first one, guess what? You're going to have a crazy-ass baby mama. Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's definitely a good bit of advice right there, brother. The right one will come along when the right one's ready to come along, not just jump into the first thing that comes along.
My whole life I was searching in my situation, I didn't really have a strong family base, so my dad wasn't around. My mom was very abusive, and I think for my whole life I always wanted a family. I was always searching and being around women, but I didn't know how to even love myself, so how could I love somebody else? So 40 years later, I end up with 5 kids, 5 baby mamas, and really toxic relationships. I had to learn the hard way, but thank God I took some time to be by myself, and I met the right one. I'm very, very happy. We actually are almost the same. This is when the right one comes along, you'll know. And it's crazy because all relationships are going to have issues. You're going to fight. It's not perfect. If it's perfect, then you have to worry. But you could actually work through them and actually get better, just like the gym, just like anything. Even if you're a drug addict, you still need to go to meetings, daily or once a week. You still have to keep going because if not, that muscle gets weak and you end up relapsing, you know? So it's very important that you know how to keep your demons under control, because if not, they'll come back, and they'll come back with more power.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to stay consistent for sure. I think that's the key. Stick with it.
I tell people, my clients, the more you diet, the easier it gets. And the more you binge, the easier it gets too. So it could go either way. As they say, it depends what wolf you feed. The good one or the bad one. It's the one that's going to be stronger. And eventually with time, it never gets easier. You just get better at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that works with anything in life. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
It's been a trip. I would have never thought that I'll be releasing my second book in a couple of months. My first one's on Amazon. It's a small read. It's just to get people started on my journey. And I would have never thought that I was going to be walking in the prison and without handcuffs and shackles and walking out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man. I can only imagine that.
And my fitness company, my nonprofit, or my book?
Your book, both of them.
My book is JC's Chronicles. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
JC's Chronicles, and it's a small read. It's just 29 pages. It was just to open the can of worms to the one that's coming up. I've had a very, very interesting life. I have to say that it was filled with money, drugs, rap videos, shootings. It's an action-packed movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went from all that to living my boring life now, where I just get up, go to the gym, eat, and make YouTube videos.
Now you get to tell your story and try to impact some people with it. Try to make something, make a change, and inspire people. Sounds like you're doing it. So you said Wrong to Strong. That's your fitness company? I keep hearing about it.
Yep. Wrong to Strong Fitness is my fitness company, my clothing brand. Just me, Wrong to Strong, pretty much. I came up with that name when I got violated and I got sent to a pretty bad place in California. And that's where I had my, aha moment when I had just my first bus ride in. They gave me a year for violation. It was my last term that I did. Somebody had got stabbed up in the kitchen for a piece of chicken. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing back again? I was like, fuck this. I'm going to finish the story this time. I'm going to actually get this done. And I was like, what's the name? What's the name? What's the name? And I was like, Wrong to Strong. I was like, I've always been wrong. I've always been strong, but I could go from wrong to strong. So the name popped up. And that's how it started, man. You know?
I think it's cool. I'm with it. It's real catchy, and it sounds like the way you're going about doing it is really sticking. It's getting traction, and it sounds like you're doing some great things with it. So, it's a nonprofit, or is that something different?
Well, my Wrong to Strong is my nonprofit. I have different LLCs set up for different stuff, so I'll mix it for tax purposes and business purposes. So I have everything kind of spread out. But everything's Wrong to Strong, though. It is just different endings. Wrong to Strong Fitness is my personal training business. Wrong to Strong Lifestyle is my clothing line, and Wrong to Strong Inc. is my nonprofit.
Oh, wait, that's cool. I support it. I really support it. And if there's anything that we can do to further your endeavors, we definitely want to promote that, because that Wrong to Strong Lifestyle, that sounds like a really good lifestyle, especially people that's coming from incarceration to getting out and trying to do something better with themselves, needs in their life.
Yeah, it's a dream. I always tell these guys, never stop dreaming, because the day that you stop dreaming, you stop living.
Well, JC, it's been real, bro, and I really appreciate you coming on here, sharing your story and talking with us, having these conversations. I'd like to have you back when you get ready to release your book. I can't wait to read it, and let's come back and talk more about it. We can have you on again.
Yeah, brother. Hey, whenever you want to call me, my line's open to you. Whenever you're down to drop some lines, even write me a letter, I'm down. Keep in touch, brother.
That's what's up. I really appreciate you, and keep doing what you're doing, because I can feel it, the impact that you're making. You inspire me, so yeah, just keep it pushing, keep grinding it out. What you're doing is really making a difference.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That was a great interview.
I do appreciate you coming out to listen today, and check out designconviction.com, check out freetailorproject.com, and don't forget to hit us on Instagram at A Life of a Lifer. Thank you for listening. I'm Taylor Conley, and this is Life of a Lifer podcast. Be sure to visit the website lifeofalifer.com, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.